Assalamu alaikum. Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel, Danish 2021. Today we would like to tell you a ghost story. Under the title, Footsteps in the Hall. We had moved to a small town in Oregon, where my grandfather and grandmother had a home for over 30 years. It was quite the adventure, for 4 girls brought up thus far in the city. My mother inherited the home when my grandfather passed in 1971. My grandmother passed earlier in 1968. The home itself was plain green color. We found out of tractors made by John Deere and had a metal roof and siding. Only the very front of the home had wood. It was because grandfather built a porch, something like a sun porch, and had it screened in. It was a nice way to sit and look out at the large yard that contained red rose bushes and yellow, also some white. It was a small home really, but we girls didn't mind. We were used to having 2 or 3 of us in one room. I, being the youngest, got to first sleep in a hall they had put in, a single bed near my parents' room. The only thing I minded was when the furnace at the foot of my bed turned on and made loud blowing noises to heat up the house at night. My mom was usually up for a bit after we would go to bed, especially to check and make sure we weren't giggling late into the night or whispering our sister's secrets. She would walk down the hall from her and my father's room and make her way through the kitchen to our bedroom. Yeah, a bedroom off the kitchen. Not very wise, as planning a house goes. Who wants to hear someone sneaking in the refrigerator late at night when you have to get up at 6:30 a.m. readying yourself for a day in junior high? Anyway, I was having these strange feelings in the house. As time went on, I felt like someone was watching, or somehow there with me, when all of my family members were out of the home. I didn't think anything about it. I just chalked it up to too many Scream movies. I am not sure when I started hearing these footsteps that weren't my mother's or father's, or siblings for that matter. I think around the time of my 12th birthday. My girlfriends would stay over, and we would sit and talk, or watch movies on the television. After our movie we would shut off the light and settle into quiet whispers for conversation and go to sleep. I have heard that a lot of negative circumstances such as yelling, being angry, physical abuse can attract a dark force if you will do you. I guess it is like putting the energy good or bad out in the universe. You get the results of the positivity or negativity in your world, right where you live. I don't think that my parents brought this being into our world necessarily. However, the air of our home was sometimes heavy with regret, sadness, as our parents weren't able to handle their frustrations and anger. Big arguments and fights broke out in our home, and that my friends contributed to this dark and ever-present feeling over the home, as if someone or something loomed over us, and we did not know how bad it was to be later. So as time went on, I heard these footsteps for years, thinking it was mother walking the late night shift, presiding over the 4 teenage daughters. That could be unruly, sneak out, or just stay up late trying to listen to music when sleep did not come easily. I heard them start by her bedroom door and go down the hall to the living room, pause, and then go to the kitchen and stop by our bedroom door. I would call out to her and my father and never an answer. I thought it was because they didn't want to blow their cover. And soon the steps would go back the way they came. After I had left home and was in my late 20s, maybe even 30, I heard a story that my niece had told me about a happening at my mother's home. She and a friend decided to stay at my mother's home. They were in middle school at that time. I listened as she told me a tale that would sound familiar. She and her friend were sleeping in the living room on a hide-to-bed sofa. They had eaten some snacks and watched a movie on television. As they were laying down, talking before sleeping, they heard the footsteps in the hall. They heard it pause, but it did not go any further. It had stopped its walk, 10 feet from their bed. My niece and her friend heard a raspy-sounding voice, unable to make out the word. And then the presence started laughing. When I was 34, my husband and I had spent the night at my mother's home. I am not sure what the occasion was that we had the sleepover. My mother did have some heart-related issues at that time, so it would make sense if we stayed to keep her company and make sure she was all right after a hospital visit. I was doing some reading in my laptop for a study class, and my husband was drifting off to sleep when suddenly he turned to me in horror. I said, "Yes, I heard that voice." The raspy-sounding, creepy voice that my niece a few years earlier described. I too heard the footfalls before it spoke, and so did my husband. I slammed my laptop closed and jumped out of bed. Dragging my husband outside to the enclosed porch, we talked for a brief minute or two, and I had decided this was not a ghost. It was a demon. I begged him to drive me to our priest's home, 12 miles away at midnight, on a weeknight, so that I could have ideas about how I might get rid of this thing. A real evil presence that God only knows how long it had been in that home. I was so frightened. I had to know what I could do to get rid of it. I had burned sage throughout the house, and I was instructed to read a certain passage in the Quran. I went throughout the house, repeating the surahs that I was given to read, and in the name of God Almighty, it must leave this home never to return. I then cleaned the house, sweeping, mopping, and giving it a thorough cleansing. I felt better. Soon after all this had taken place, I heard no more footsteps down that hall, nor did anyone else ever report any noises or raspy voice stranger that was once heard by my niece, myself, and my husband. That's all my story. I do hope that we can always keep our faith, wherever and whenever we are in happy and sad condition. May Allah protect us from the Satan temptation. Ameen. Wassalamu alaikum.